Marcus Chen was 32 when he realized he'd spent a decade teaching people how to disappear into screens, into that blue glow that makes hours vanish. He was brilliant at it. His algorithms predicted with 97% accuracy when you'd reach for your phone next. He could engineer notifications to interrupt your weakest moments, design infinite scrolls that felt like destiny, but were just cold math harvesting attention. His company occupied 3 floors in downtown Seattle. Tech magazines called him the architect of engagement. His bank account had fictional numbers. His penthouse overlooked Elliott Bay. He had everything, except he couldn't remember the last time he'd actually looked at that view instead of his screen. Tuesday afternoon, corner office, 3 monitors glowing, phone face up like always. Smartwatch vibrating with updates he'd programmed himself to never ignore. Then his phone rang, actually rang, and his sister Lily's name appeared. "Marcus, I'm getting married!" Her voice exploded through the speaker. "Jeremy proposed last night and it was perfect and— Marcus, are you listening?" He was, sort of. His eyes had drifted to a monitor tracking real-time engagement metrics. Millions of people doing exactly what his algorithms commanded. Scroll, click, stay, repeat. "Marcus," Lily's voice cracked. "When was the last time we actually saw each other? In person, not on video where you're always looking at something else." The question hit like a freight train. He opened his mouth and realized he couldn't remember. 3 months? 6? A year? Time had become screen refreshes and notification cycles. "I want you there, Marcus. Really there. Not checking your phone during my ceremony. I want my brother back." She paused. If he still exists. The call ended. Marcus sat surrounded by millions of dollars of technology, staring at his phone like he'd never seen it before. It had stopped being an object. It had become part of his hand, his brain, his identity. That night, he did something radical. He turned off his phone, completely off. Silence rushed in. It felt like drowning. His hand kept reaching for it, phantom limb syndrome. Every few minutes, his brain screamed to check something, anything. Even though nothing was urgent, nothing was burning. The world wasn't ending just because he wasn't monitoring it. He lasted 47 minutes before panic won. The phone flooded back with notifications. Relief washed over him, immediate and shameful. He was addicted, not to the phone, but to never being fully present, always halfway between here and there, perpetually somewhere else. Next morning, Marcus walked to work instead of Ubering, 6 blocks through downtown. Earbuds stayed in his bag. Phone stayed in his pocket. For the first time in a decade, he paid attention. A street musician sat on 4th and Pike playing acoustic guitar. Marcus had passed this spot 500 times and never registered someone was there. Today, he stopped. The musician was old, maybe 70, hands moving like they were conversing with the instrument. Marcus stood through 3 songs while everyone else walked past, heads down, phones up, blind to everything not glowing. When the 3rd song ended, Marcus dropped a 20 in the guitar case. "When did you learn to play?" The old man smiled. 63 years ago. Took me 60 of those years to learn the most important lesson." "What's that?" "The notes you don't play matter just as much as the ones you do. Space, silence, moments between." He tapped his guitar. "Same with life. Y'all spend so much time filling every second with noise, you forget what quiet sounds like. Forget that sometimes the best part is when nothing's happening except you and the world just sitting together." Marcus thought about that all day, about silence, about spaces between, about how his entire career eliminated those spaces, filled every gap, ensured users never experienced a single moment of boredom or contemplation. Lunch. He entered a cafe he'd ordered from 100 times through apps, but never physically visited. Sat at a corner table with just his thoughts. No phone, no laptop, just Marcus, coffee, and the uncomfortable sensation of existing in one moment without escape. A grandmother 2 tables over taught her granddaughter checkers. The girl was maybe 6, making illegal moves, jumping pieces wherever she wanted. The grandmother never corrected her, just moved her own pieces in response, treating chaos like part of the game. They laughed, real laughter, from total presence, not performing for anyone, not documenting anything, just existing in a moment that would disappear, leaving only the memory of joy. Marcus watched for 20 minutes like an anthropologist studying an extinct species. When was the last time he'd sat with someone? Really sat, no devices, no escape routes, and just been there. The grandmother caught him staring and smiled. Not suspicious, knowing. She pointed at her phone face down on the table, untouched. "Best invention in the world," she said. "As long as you remember it serves you, not the other way around." We forgot that. Started treating these things like they're more real than people sitting right across from us. Marcus left with something heavy in his chest. He'd built systems that turned people into metrics, attention spans into data points, human behavior into something to exploit, optimize, monetize. He'd done it so well he'd turned himself into one of his own products. That evening, instead of going home, Marcus went to his sister's place, knocked with his phone off in his pocket. When Lily opened the door, she looked surprised, like seeing a ghost, like she'd forgotten what her brother looked like without a screen between them. "Hey," he said, "can I come in? Just be here. No work, no phone, just me, actually present." Lily's eyes filled with tears. She pulled him into a hug longer than any interaction they'd had in years. "I was starting to think I'd lost you." They sat on her balcony, overlooking the same city Marcus saw from his penthouse, but entirely different, viewed from 12 floors lower, with someone you loved beside you. They talked for 4 hours, about her wedding, about Jeremy, about their childhood, parents, dreams, fears, the kind of conversation requiring vulnerability and eye contact and willingness to sit with uncomfortable silences. Marcus told her everything, about his algorithms, about realizing what he'd built, about the musician and grandmother, and this terrifying, exhilarating feeling that he'd been sleepwalking through his own existence. "So, what are you going to do?" Lily asked. Marcus looked at the city below. Millions of lights, millions of people staring into screens right now, scrolling through infinite feeds, chasing dopamine hits he'd engineered, missing the world unfolding around them exactly like he'd been missing it. "I'm going to tear it down," he said quietly. "Everything I built. Or fix it. Make it serve people instead of harvest them. I don't know if I can, but I have to try." Lily took his hand. "That sounds hard." "Yeah," Marcus smiled, really smiled for the first time in forever. "But that's the point. Things worth doing are supposed to be hard. They require you to show up, be uncomfortable, face reality instead of curating some digital version. I've been running from that for a decade. I'm done running." The wedding was 3 months later. Marcus stood beside his sister with his phone off in his jacket pocket, where it stayed. Entire ceremony, entire reception, entire perfect day, where nothing existed except people he loved and moments they were creating together. He cried during Lily's vows, danced with his mother, had a real conversation with his father about mortality and legacy and what it means to leave something that matters, not an algorithm, not a metric, but a memory, a moment, a piece of yourself given fully to another human. Watching Lily and Jeremy's first dance, Marcus thought about the grandmother. about the musician playing notes that mattered because of silence between them, about his sister asking if he still existed. The answer was here. It had always been here. Not in his pocket, not in his data, not in some future moment he could engineer or predict, but right now, in this room full of people dancing and laughing and being impossibly, messily, perfectly human. The algorithm couldn't calculate this. The metrics couldn't measure it. And that's exactly what made it real.